Ja, hallo, hier ist wieder die Katrin für Amazona.de und ich freue mich hier sehr mit Marcus Ryle zu sitzen. So, just switching to English. Welcome, Marcus. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
So you came all the way from Los Angeles to Berlin, yes?
Yes, yeah, my first time in Berlin actually. I've been to Germany many times, but really happy to see this city for the first time.
Wow, so have you already had an impression of the city or did you just get to the super booth here?
Been mainly at Super Booth, but everything I've seen so far I really enjoyed.
It's your first super booth?
First Super Booth, that's true, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I just heard that you just launched a new synthesizer, right?
That's right, the Oberheim OB-X8. And Oberheim is a legendary brand for the industry, but this is really the first new polyphonic Oberheim synthesizer since the 80s.
Okay. What was the approach to develop such a beast of synthesizer like the OB-X8 in the 2000s? Because we have digital technology and you came along with a big flagship, full polyphony, fully analog, fully vintage sound, 3 synthesizers in one box.
Yes. Well, you know, we get the advantage, you know, at the time, yeah, I was working at Oberheim from 1980 to 85, helping to design these synthesizers. And of course, at that time, we were doing the very latest technology we could and whatever was possible at that time. And now we have the advantage of being able to look back at what those synthesizers really meant.
Okay.
You know, all the great music that was created with them, what was important with them. And we get to take advantage of today's technology, today's tools, manufacturing, microprocessors, and so on, to be able to make a synthesizer that can have 100% the pure analog signal path of those originals, but take advantage of modern technology to shall we say, tame them appropriately. We want the magic of analog synthesizers is how unpredictable they are, but now we can make that unpredictableness be reliable in a way that was more difficult back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's for me very interesting is the fact that you and Tom are working so long together. How long has it been?
I first met Tom in 1980. I was 18 years old, and it was the good luck that I was born in Los Angeles, and Oberheim was a Southern California synthesizer company. I was a musician and you could say tinkerer, hobbyist with technology. I was teaching at Cal State Dominguez Hills, a university where we had a synthesizer lab. We had the only synclavier in 1979 on the West Coast, and he was curious to see it. And somewhat of a surprise for me, in 1980 he offered me a job and wanted me to join Oberheim to design synthesizers. So that's when I first met Tom, and it was a fantastic experience. I was 19, had turned 19 then, and worked directly with him for 5 years.
How long does it took to develop the OB-X8?
Well, I suppose you could say it's been since 1979, since its foundation was really, we had the benefit of being able to have all the original synthesizers, original schematics, original software and everything. That's really the foundation. But we worked, for a concentrated period of about the last year to really bring the design to fruition with a really talented team of engineers that we partnering with Sequential. That's really what made this possible.
Okay. Is there a sort of interaction between you guys from Oberheim and the Sequential team?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, what's great, Sequential is really the best modern company to make digitally controlled analog synthesizers, and they've got the incredible experience of Dave Smith from the original days in the 70s all the way through to now. And really, Tom and I were bringing the Oberheim perspective and ensuring that we were designing something that could truly be considered an Oberheim, but take advantage of all the things Sequential has learned in how to manufacture really high-quality analog synthesizers and their expertise. So it was a perfect marriage of those capabilities, because Sequential has been continuing to evolve for the last 20 years, building great analog synthesizers.
Okay.
So it's a combination of the two.
And I just, the history of Oberheim is very, very interesting because there was a big, huge start, and then there was a long break, and then there is a start again. So
it was in hibernation. You know, Oberheim's story is sadly not that uncommon for that time. A lot of people like Tom were really, really innovative and creative pioneers, but they didn't necessarily have business experience. You know, Dave Smith, Roger Lynn, Bob Moog, Tom Oberheim, they all lost their company at one time or another. And sadly, even though they were really the foundations of this incredible music technology. So in 1985, Oberheim went bankrupt, and the brand was bought by another party, and then it was bought by Gibson. So Tom Oberheim hasn't owned his own name since 1985. And Tom worked in a few other industries, but then with a lot of encouragement from people like Roger Lynn and musicians, you know, in around, I think it was about 2009 or so. I'm sorry if I get the date wrong. He started making synthesizers again, you know, on a very small scale. He was just doing it on his own. And there was still a great interest in these legendary Oberheim synthesizers. So it built from there for him, and then with a lot of help from a lot of people, and we were able to, over a period of time, reacquire all of the Oberheim trademarks for Tom. So, you know, it's really gratifying that in his 80s, he's finally allowed to use his name and his logo once more, and he's still very passionate about synthesizers. So it's really gratifying to be able to bring Oberheim, the original Oberheim brand, with its original founder being the visionary, to back into the world today.
Okay, this brings me into an interesting question. What do you think about clones? I mean,
That's a good question.
It has something to do with competition. It has something to do with intellectual property, and something to do with the work of other peoples.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think, first of all, I don't have any issue with people doing things that are legal, and I don't have pass any judgment with regards to what people might think is ethical.
Okay.
The bottom line is most of these old designs are considered to be public domain now.
Yeah.
And if someone wants to make their recreation of it, it's within their right to do so. I think it crosses a line if you are trying to make it that you are that original company, or that you are necessarily equivalent. I think it's up to customers to decide if something is equivalent or not. But I think anything that helps people get involved in making music, and if it inspires them creatively, I have no issue with it whatsoever. But there's only one Tom Oberheim.
Okay.
So there should be only one person who can make Oberheim synthesizers, and I'm very happy that that's what is possible now. And if people want to make synthesizers that they claim are similar to Oberheim or are inspired by original Oberheims, you know, what's the old saying? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. So they're welcome to do that if they like.
Okay.
have you stayed in contact with Tom all the time when he was like disappearing from the media? Or
you know, there were periods we always kept in touch. There were periods of time we didn't talk for quite a while. He was involved in other things. I've been involved in with a bunch of other companies and other technologies. So in a way, it's a homecoming for me as well as for Tom, because my career started with designing synthesizers, and it's nice now to be able to return. Synthesizers is my first love. That's still what I enjoy the most of music technology. So it's fun for me, and it's fun to see how much Tom is enjoying getting his much due recognition once again for the contributions that he's made. So
So beautiful. What did he do in the time when since the company for the first time got broke, and then since it restarted?
What did I do?
What did you do, and what did Tom do?
Okay.
So in that time.
Well, Tom in 1987 started a company called Marion Systems, and he made a few synthesizers with that brand, and then he made some digital audio interfaces and everything. But it never took off in the same way that Oberheim did. And I think he spent some time working at a university. He worked with a computer graphics company. He did a few different things, which he could probably explain much better than I can, until, again, around 2009 or so, he started making synthesizers again. And me, let's see. Well, from 80 to 85, I was with Oberheim. I left there as I didn't have any premonition, but I left about a month before it went bankrupt, and with another Oberheim engineer named Michel Douadic, and with my wife Susan Wolf, we started a company called Fast Forward Designs in 1985, and we really loved designing products, and we wanted to design a broader range of products. So we offered our services to other companies. So we designed a bunch of products for other brands. We designed products for DigiDesign. We designed about 40 products for Alesis. So things like the Quadraverb and the ADAT and Quadrasynths and the drum machines. We designed products for Dynacord, a German company. We did some digital drum products. So for about 10 years, we were designing products for other companies. And then in 1996, we decided to start our own brand called Line 6, which makes guitar products. So we started that in 96, and that grew over the years pretty well. And we sold Line 6 to Yamaha in 2014. And I continued with Yamaha and was general manager of Yamaha's guitar division until I retired from Yamaha in 2019. And since then, my wife and I now, because of our experience in building businesses in this industry, we mainly provide advisement to other companies in this industry. We have the good fortune now to be able to just work with people that we enjoy working with. So we enjoy, for example, Dave Smith, we've known for so long, so we were happy to help him in forming his partnership with Focusrite. And there's a few other companies in the industry that we help advise on strategic advisement and product advisement. And in the case of Oberheim, it was just always a personal passion for about 10 years to try to get his trademarks back and to bring that brand back to life too. So that's the short version of 42 years of this industry.
What can we expect in future from Oberheim?
That's a fine question, and I'm of course can't speak for Tom or for his partners. But I'm confident they'll continue to innovate and come out with things that people will really enjoy making music with.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yes, I think you can count on it.
One question, you mentioned Marion Systems.
Yes.
Why is it called like that?
Marion is, if I may have this wrong, but I believe Tom and Jill's daughter Emily, her middle name is Marion, I believe, and it might be also a name of another relative. Sorry, Tom, if I'm getting this wrong, but I believe it's a family name that he chose for the company.
And when you think about Tom, we don't know him, personally. How would you describe him?
Oh, Tom he's a really friendly, lovable guy. Everyone who meets him I think really enjoys him and his spirit, and yeah, he's a great guy.
And how do you two inspired each other to have such a legendary work together?
I think, I feel really lucky at that era. The synthesizer community was a pretty small community. And even though people like Dave Smith and Bob Moog and so on, that we were all technically competitors, everyone was friends too. So it was very natural, working with Tom and seeing what the great things everyone else was doing. It would naturally feed on the inspiring creativity to keep trying to. Everyone was kind of pushing each other to try to invent new things, and it was a good time. I really enjoyed that period.
Amazing. It's so good to see that you're working so long together. You know each other about 42 years, right?
Yeah.
He was at your marriage, your wedding, yes?
Yeah, he was at our wedding. My wife and I will be married 40 years this August, and Tom was there, as were a lot of other Oberheim company friends, because I was working there at the time. So yeah, we've known each other a long time.
So have a nice day here in Berlin. Enjoy the super booth, and I hope you can just also tune into maybe some other instruments or something.
I'm sure I will enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.